I welcome you all to the 42nd lecture for the course on International Investment Law and the Environment. And in this lecture, we will be looking at particular exceptions, because in the last lecture we looked at general exceptions. So we will look at particular exceptions that provide for an exception with regard to environmental measure in an international investment agreement. So we will look at that primarily in this lecture, and also, like I told you in the 40th lecture itself, sometimes preamble also contains a provision which talks about protecting the environment. So since I could not fit that into any of the headings, I will discuss that at the end of this particular lecture. After discussing the miscellaneous provisions, I will also discuss about preamble as well. So this is going to be the structure of this lecture. So in the very first segment, I will give a brief introduction as to what are the provisions that I call as particular exceptions in an international investment agreement with regard to environment, and then we can also discuss about one such particular exception, which is known as PRs, right? Performance requirements. So the provision that talks about PR is generally in an international investment agreement, you will have a provision that prohibits a host state or the contracting parties from enacting PR. So probably I may refer to such provision as PPR, prohibition on performance requirements. Okay, so without any further ado, let me start with the introduction to particular exceptions. So I am using the phrase particular exceptions for the purpose of this lecture in one particular context, that is, we are looking at an exception clause which provides, which sort of states that if at all a environmental measure is taken, that will be an exception to the general rule that is levied. Maybe the general rule could be the provisions, substantive protections given in the bilateral investment treaty or a treaty with investment provision. So then what is the difference between a general exception clause and a particular exception clause? General exception clause acts as an exception to all the provisions in the particular BIT, but a particular exception clause is that the exception is provided within one article. So therefore, the exception is applicable within that article itself. Let's say if that article is a performance requirements article, then the exception is only limited to the context of performance requirement. Or if you find an exception clause only in the article dealing with expropriation, then I have categorized that also as a particular exception clause, because that environmental regulatory measure will only not be considered as expropriation pursuant to the presence of this exception clause. So it may be considered to be a violation of fair and equitable treatment, right? So wherever an exception is provided only for a particular rule, so that sort of an exception clause is what I have categorized as particular exceptions in the international investment agreements with regard to environmental protection. So now that we've established what is called as particular exception for the purpose of our course, let me move ahead and then discuss one such provision that you will generally find in an international investment agreement, and that provision is performance requirements. So what is a performance requirement? Performance requirements are those provisions or those measures wherein the host state wants the investor to behave in a certain way. So you have to act like this. That is where the name, the performance requirements comes into picture, right? So host state has some expectation with regard to investor, and host state wants the investor to act in a particular way. This is generally done so that the host state achieves some sort of objectives or aims and all of that it has, right, with regard to its own economy. So some host state has certain objectives in mind, therefore it asks the investor to act in a particular way. Now, what sort of an objective it could be? Probably, this could be an objective in order to strengthen some key industries in a particular economic sector, in order to ensure that the national enterprises survive in a particular economic sector, in order to ensure that to create upstream or downstream economic links in a particular economic sector, or in order to reduce poverty, in order to reduce unemployment, in order to create a favorable condition for technology transfer, in order to sort of protect environment and other social objectives like health. So the objectives of the host state could be any number of things, and it can request or it can order the investor to act in a particular way in order to achieve this particular objective. So now, since our course is only focused on environment, I am particularly interested in those performance requirements which relate to protection of environment as well as public health. Like I have clarified while in lecture 40 itself, that for the sake of 9th week of the course, we are not making a strict distinction between environmental measure and public health measure. So here also I am looking at the performance requirements that deals with protection of environment or protection of public health. And that's what our focus is going to be. I mean, performance requirements is something that is not new to investment regime itself. If we look at WTO also, there is this agreement, Trade Related Investment Measures Agreement, TRIMS agreement, that also prohibits certain performance requirements. So specifically the performance requirements that are inconsistent with the national treatment standard provided under Article 3 of GATT or Article 11 of GATT that deals with prohibition of quantitative restriction, those performance requirements are prohibited. Even other than that, the PR's performance requirements that relate to local content requirements, trade balancing requirements, foreign exchange restrictions, and all of these are prohibited. But we do see that not many cases have been filed alleging a violation of TRIMS agreement. One of the reason is because every country has its own performance requirements, so it is little reluctant to challenge the performance requirements of a other country. WTO dispute settlement system is state to state dispute settlement system. So states may be reluctant to bring in a case, but that's not the case with investment regime. In case of an investment regime, an investor can directly bring a case against the host state. So this inhibition of filing a case against performance requirement may not be there. But even then, if we look at the investment regime, if we look at the provisions that are contained in the international investment agreements. For instance, UNCTAD mapping project had found out of 2576, that is 2576 treaties, only 215 treaties had a performance requirement provision. And the language of the provision also differed. We will discuss about it towards the end of the segment with regard to what sort of content you find in such provisions. But the fact is, only very few international investment agreements contain a provision with regard to PPR, prohibition on performance requirements. Maybe because, the national treatment standard is something that you will always find in a bilateral investment treaty. In most of the treaties, you will find a national treatment standard, and that sort of, the protection that a national treatment standard gives overlaps with the protection that a performance requirement, prohibition against performance requirements provision gives. Maybe that could be the reason. But whatever the reason, the very few international investment agreements contain a provision on prohibiting performance requirements. Even in that, the language differs. Sometimes they copy the language as that of TRIMS agreement. Sometimes there's an explicit reference to TRIMS agreement. Sometimes it's drafted in a very broad nature. And out of that, you will find an exception clause which says that a performance requirement which is imposed on the investor in order to protect the environment or public health, that will not be considered violative of the PPR provision of an international investment agreement. So that is where we are interested in looking at the PPR provisions, and we may find such an exception as well. So what are the provisions that we generally find in an international investment agreement? So generally we would find a very ordinary clause, usually this is a provision that you will very often find in an international investment agreement, that lays down that the contracting parties shall not subject the investments to additional performance requirements unless they are deemed vital for protecting public health and the environment. So that is where, since public health and environment are considered to be an exception, this becomes a very important clause for particular exceptions. Sometimes the treaty may not use the title performance requirements. If we look at Kuwait and the treaty signed by Kuwait or United Arab Emirates, a performance requirement provision is also written under protection of investment clause itself. Now, what are the other ways in which the clause gets drafted? Sometimes you will find a performance requirement clause that states that the contracting parties can mandate the use of technology to meet generally applicable health and environmental requirements, and this sort of provision that talks about dealing with use of technology for health and environmental protection, you will find it in the treaties that is signed by Canada. Sometimes you will find these provision in annexes, annexures and protocols to the BIT rather than in the main text itself. So, they may be titled as performance requirement, they may not be titled as performance requirements, but essentially the character of the provision would be that of laying down a performance requirements, right. So, now sometimes these exceptions may be very similar to the language of a general exceptions, but even though if it is the language is very similar to general exceptions, we are not putting it in the category that we discussed in lecture number 41. The reason being, we are only looking at the scope. The language may be similar to that of a general exception clause, but the scope of that provision, let's say if it acts as an exception to only one provision, then we will call that as particular exception. One of the thing that I want to highlight here is sometimes you will find a provision dealing with performance requirements, as well as you will find a provision dealing with general exceptions also. One example that I want to point out in this context is Colombia-Japan BIT 2011. If we look at Article 5 of Colombia-Japan BIT, which is signed in 2011, we will find Article 5 to be titled as performance requirement, and in the 6th paragraph of Article 5, we will find a provision that states that the measure should not be applied, whatever measure that falls within the scope of Article 5, if those measures are not applied in an arbitrary or unjustifiable manner, and provided that such measures do not constitute a disguised restriction on international trade or investment activities, then nothing in the subparagraphs 1b, 1c and f and 2a and 2b shall be constitute to prevent a contracting party from adopting or maintaining measures, including environmental measures. Then the list goes. B, we will find that necessary to protect human, animal or plant life or health is mentioned, and then C, we will find that the measure should relate to the conservation of living or non-living exhaustible natural resources. If we at the outside it may look like a general exception clause, so that is where things get interesting in Colombia-Japan BIT, because if I draw your attention to Article 15 of the BIT, Article 15 of the same BIT is titled as General and Security Exception. So, where in that General and Security Exception clause, the BIT provides that subject to the requirement that such measures are not applied by a contracting party in a manner which would constitute a means of arbitrary or unjustifiable discrimination against other contracting party, or a disguised restriction on investment of investors of that other contracting party in the area of the former contracting party, then nothing in this agreement other than Article 12 shall be construed to prevent that former contracting party from adopting or enforcing measures, including those to protect the environment necessary to protect human, animal or plant life or health. So, maybe you might wonder, then what is the point of providing a particular exception under Article 5 if there is a general exception clause? So, that we have to ask the drafters itself if there any other, why did they feel the need to provide a particular exception also when they have provided a general exception clause. Maybe this was added as an extra layer, extra layer of protection to preserve the regulatory space of the host state. Probably that could be the reason why they have done so. But in any case, performance requirement could have one exception provision, and that could deal with the many measures that is taken for the purpose of protecting the environment or public health. So that is why most often this is something you will find in a performance requirement provision. So I would say that the exception for the protection of environment and public health you find in a performance requirement is the first thing that I discussed for discussing particular exception, because this is the most popular form of particular exception. So in the next segment we will discuss one other particular exception that we will find in the context of an international investment agreement. Thank you.